Coming up on By the Book, join host Dorothy Spalding and today's leading authors with in-depth interviews, stories, and discussions, offering unique insight into the authors, their influences, and their latest works. Tune in today as Dorothy welcomes Tiz Huch. Be sure to watch By the Book.
Read the book?
It's great.
How did you do it?
By the book.
Where did you find that?
Did you see By the Book?
Yeah, it's a great show. By the book.
New releases and authors?
I thought it was a great read.
I think I'm going to buy the book.
It's the best.
Did you get it?
You should.
Do it by the book.
The best authors.
New releases.
Let's watch.
By the Book.
Welcome to By the Book. I'm your host, Dorothy Spalding, and we have a very special guest who's my friend, and I'm so pleased to have her here today, is Tiz Huch. Now, Huch, yeah, you took, and earlier in another program, we had your husband with us.
Yes.
And he's such a fireball, but you're the same. And you know, if you know her husband, Larry, he was kind of in drugs and kind of like a bad boy. Did you meet him when he was a bad boy?
Well, I met him 6 months after he had an encounter with
saved?
God. Yeah, after he got saved, became a Christian. And then 6 months later, I ended up getting saved in this little tiny church. So I met him. He still had long hair. He still had, you know, big black bags under his eyes, and you know, but I mean, he was definitely changed in that regard. I mean, God set him free like the moment that he gave his life to the Lord. Set him free of cocaine, alcohol, cigarettes. I mean, just like that, everything. Yeah. So there was that part of the deliverance that was immediate, and he was so in love with the Lord. I mean, he was 25 years old, never experienced God in his life ever. And at that moment, he was completely changed and set on fire for God, knew that he was going to live his life for the Lord, give his life to the ministry. But the thing that hung on him that took us a while to get over, and he explained this to you, was that anger and that violence that was in him, because it was really about what was in his heart. So that's really where things began to escalate, and we had some rocky years in the beginning, you know, because he still was dealing with all of that anger and all that baggage, and you know, things would go along fine, and then it would erupt. And so out of that, of course, it always takes two to tango, right? So he always puts the blame on himself, but we both had a part in this. But we had some really rough years, and only by the grace of God did we survive that. And that's how he learned about breaking generational curses. That's how I learned about the power of prayer. And so his whole ministry out of that became, you know, how to break generational curses. And we felt like we've been married almost 34 years.
Wow.
And in the ministry that whole time, pretty much. And so we really feel like our mission in life is to help people to cross that bridge that we had to build.
So when he met you, you're not saved. He's saved. What'd you think?
Well, I didn't know what to think. I'd never been around Christianity my whole life. We were raised in, you know, a Catholic church, but we were kind of Christian, or Christmas and Easter.
Yeah, right.
So I had a good family, but we weren't like a godly, religious family. So I moved to Arizona just looking for an adventure, looking for something. And I was 20, and went down there, went to college, and didn't know anybody, and ended up, this girl invited me to this little church. And I didn't know anybody, so I ended up just going with her. I didn't know what it was. Well, I was totally unprepared, but God had set me up for an encounter with him. So that night, I gave my life to the Lord, and I knew that something dramatic had changed, and that I would give my life to him fully. And Larry was in the church that night, but I really don't remember anybody there that night, because it was just a crazy experience for me. I'd never been in a situation like that. But from that point on, I started going to church and just figuring this out. I thought, well, I was looking for an adventure. I guess I found one. And so from there, we just started kind of
dating.
Yeah, Yeah, and things happened very, very quickly. We got married a year from the day that I got saved, and then 6 months later got pregnant with our first baby, and then went into the ministry, and then seven churches.
Australia.
Yeah. First we went to Santa Fe. We were in Santa Fe 3 years. Then we went to Australia.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Big, yeah. And we had the 2 babies at the time, moved to Australia for 3 years, came back to the U.S. for 9 months, and then went back to Australia again and started a different church. So the first one was in Adelaide, the second one was in Melbourne. So we were there another 3 years. Then when we came back, we went to the Northwest. So
Portland, Oregon.
It's been a busy
Life.
journey, but I'll
through
tell
that
ya.
is where you learned about prayer, through all those years
Yeah.
and all those things.
Yeah.
And that's why you wrote this book?
Yep. And you know, Dorothy, I did a TV program some months ago with somebody else, and I was talking about this and telling how long we've been in the ministry and everything. And this guy said, you know, I'm not even sure what's in that book. He said, but to look at you and see your zeal and your joy as a pastor's wife and in the ministry after 34 years, he said, I'm sold on that book. Because he said he doesn't see that many women that are enjoying the journey, enjoying life, or still full of the love of God. And so this is why I've created this book. It's an outflow of my 33 years and what I've learned about knowing and trusting God, knowing who He is and what He wants to do in our lives. Because I think most people feel like even as a Christian, they're just out there on their own, trying to make a way, trying to make ends meet, and wondering, does anybody understand what I'm going through? Does anybody know the pain that I'm dealing with? And I start this book out with Psalms 115:12, where it tells us that God is thinking about us right now.
Isn't that
And I don't
cool?
know, that goes deep into my heart to know that I am on God's
His
mind.
mind.
So I really, in this book, it's not so much about teaching people the elements of prayer as it is about connecting them to how incredible and awesome and loving our God is. And then from there, I explain that it's not the truth that will set you free. It's the truth you know that will set you free. So we can have a Bible sitting here, we can be in church every week, listen to, but if we don't get those promises down in our heart and understand who God is, it doesn't compute out into real life. And so my goal is to connect people to the love of God, show them. I believe that many people, they don't even know who God is, really. It's like, okay.
They go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and even Larry and I lived the first 15, 16 years in the ministry thinking that God was a mean God, a hard taskmaster. And what flipped our life around almost 15 years ago was that all of a sudden we began to realize God is a good God.
Yes.
He loves us. He cares about us. Yeah, we're going to make it to heaven someday, but He cares about this life.
Here.
Yeah. And so we learned how to connect the dots of faith and to get God's super working in our natural. And Dorothy, I think I told you this the last time we were together, but there are 8,000 promises, good
Isn't that
promises
good?
in the Word of God. And I think that overall Christians hear too much about God being such a hard taskmaster. We walk around under this condemnation thinking that we're never good enough, we can't run fast enough, pray hard enough, that God's just chasing us down to judge us and discipline us. And what I try and teach people here, yes, of course, there's certain parameters we have to live by, but God is a good God, and He wants to chase us down with blessings.
Yes. It's like a ride.
Yeah,
you
it
never know
is.
what's going to happen the next day, and take it as a challenge with His Word
Yes.
every day.
And let Him stretch our faith.
Yes.
You know, like right now in the world, people have challenges.
Big time.
Economically, they're challenged in their marriages, their families, trying to raise kids in this world. There's a lot of